cheat code.
Hey everyone, welcome to Pickleball Cheat Code, the show for competitive pickleball players who want to level up their game. We focus on advanced strategies for experienced players, stuff only the pros really know. I'm Brodie Smith. I'm a 5.5 level player and a coach, and I'm here with my co-host, Tanner Tomasi.
What's up, everyone?
Tanner is a 6.0 rated player and an APP gold medalist. Today, we're covering how to think like a pro and why it's better to play smarter, not harder. And then at the end of the episode, we're going to be breaking down Tanner going back-to-back on APP golds, which is incredible. Then we're also working on a dedicated Q&A style episode, but we need more of your questions. So leave us a voicemail at memo.fm/PCC. Tanner, welcome back. How are you, bud?
How's it going?
Good. Let's dive right into things. You know, one thing that is very true is that you don't have to be a genius to play pickleball. I mean, look at us, right? You know,
Exactly.
Are we the smartest guys in the world? I wouldn't say so, but I think we're still sharp guys. Point being, if you have a higher pickleball IQ, your game's going to skyrocket. Pickleball IQ is extremely important, and it doesn't necessarily correlate to your actual intelligence, but it could. Point being, it's very important. If you have a higher pickleball Q, your game's going to develop and you're not going to be able to plateau as much. Players plateau so often because they're not focusing on the right things and thinking about the game in the right way. You know, you can drill all you want. You can grind on the court all day long, but if you don't apply your game in an intelligent way and you're mindful about your actions and what you're thinking about before and during a match, you're not going to be improving much at all. So, you know, what we did today is Tanner and I came prepared. You know, it's not often that we do come prepared, but we did today, and I'm happy about that. I'm proud of us. And we have our top 3 mental strategies prepped in order to think like a pro and how to improve your pickleball IQ. So Tanner, I don't know what your 3 are. You don't know what my 3 are, but let's go back and forth and then go one by one. Hopefully all 3 of ours aren't the exact same. I doubt they are because, you know, your game is, you know, structured a lot differently than mine, and you've thought about the game a lot different than I have too. So I'd love for you to kick things off with your number 1 mental strategy to think like a pro.
My number 1 would be to not have an ego. I wouldn't let what things happen, prior points or maybe off the court, determine what happens in my decision making on the court. A prime example is if somebody body bags you, the very next point, your game is shifted. You're trying to kill the other person and you're willing to give up 2 to 3 points just to get back at that. And I think being able to be in control of your emotions is a huge superpower.
It's hard. It's easier said than done. A lot of people have to rework that. There's times where my ego gets in the way and I get frustrated and then I want to make personal shots at players, but you've got to put that behind you. Is that something that took you a while to work on, or is that something that you had early on from like your other sports backgrounds, from maybe even paintball?
I would say it took a little bit to work on because if somebody hits you with a good shot, you want to get them back. But it's not necessary. And the second you can kind of hone that in and accept it and take nothing personal, I think your game will jump up through the roof.
Is there any tactics that you do in the middle of a match to like not take it personal? Is there anything that you're thinking about? Or are you just trying to get back in the flow state, just next point, and you know?
Yeah, I don't think it's anything too specific. I think it's honestly just like caring less. Like if this is your job, you play, which it is my job, you play every day, you want to be the best, you train 10 hours a day, like you can't accept defeat. And then when you lose, like you're just devastated. It's like your whole world ended. I think actually like caring less in a sense makes you better. Cause I'm like, oh, they hit a good shot. Like there's nothing I can do, as opposed to them hitting a good shot on me. And it's like the world's ending because I need to win. This is my livelihood, you know?
Do you think you see more ego at around the 3.0, 4.0 level, or do you see more ego as you've gotten better and he's at the pro level?
Ooh, that's
on average. I'm trying to think because I know.
That's a good question. I would say for the most part, I don't think too many people have egos at like 3.0 to 3.5. Sure. Maybe if we changed it to like, I feel like 4 or 5, like 4 5s in a 4.0 group. I feel like that's like the hot spot for it.
That's kind of the hot spot. That's where most of the drama happens. That's where the chippiness happens, where they, you know, a lot of people think that they're better than they are, and some are better than they actually think they are. But you get my point. It's interesting.
Right.
All right. My number 1 is statistics. And what I mean by that is thinking of your game, the way you structure your points, in a matter of statistics and numbers. People are just kind of hitting shots blindly as they go play rec, as they go play tournaments. But if you don't understand your shot percentages for every shot in pickleball, then you're not really creating a baseline for yourself to get better in any way. So for example, if you don't have a rough idea of what your forehand drop percentages versus your backhand drop percentages, and then your dink percentage versus your reset percentage, then you're not going to be able to really have a baseline to build your game off of. Because what this does is it helps you know when to take risks and then when to play it safe in the middle of a match. If you understand your own game and your own set of data, and then it helps you break down kind of what player you are and what you can and can't do during a match, if that makes sense. So it helps you make adjustments properly. It helps you pivot to what's working and what's not working. And then it also just shows what you need to improve on, obviously. If you're hitting your drops at like a 60% rate and you know that and you're honest with yourself, that's going to help change, the way you approach the game, what you're going to be drilling on. And then same thing in the middle of a match too. If you know you hit your drives at 90% and your drops at 60, when we're playing a tournament, let's drive it every single time. Like, use your numbers to your advantage and simplify the game. Is this something that you think about at all? Is this something that you do, Tanner, in terms of a numbers breakdown at a high level?
Yeah, I would say maybe for me personally, more or less on like specific shot. I mean, sure, specific shots, but I think more of like decision making. Like the prime example, like say somebody hits you like a soft roll to your feet from the mid when you're in the mid court and they're at the kitchen line. Mm-hmm. It's like, where do you hit that shot? Do you try to be really aggressive and go cross court? To set up the next shot? Do you hit it dead to the middle? Do you go to the guy in front of you? The right shot is like hit it dead to the middle. But I think some people will like see that they're receiving a little bit of a dead ball, so they could be aggressive and try to roll a reset from the midcourt, and then it pops up and then they lose the point. So like that in like the key moments like that.
Yeah, I think it's just, simplifying too, like you said, just even the basic decisions, just like where to hit the most obvious shots. And then for me, a good way to do that, because it's hard for people to conceptualize and think about it during a match, film your match. Write down how many drops you hit, how many drops you missed, and then figure it out from there. And if not, just be mindful of it during a match and kind of give yourself a rough estimate. It doesn't have to be an exact Excel spreadsheet of, all of your shots that you're hitting, because that can be overkill, but it could be really helpful. So I guess, and then the other question I had for you on this, which I was actually really curious about, is like what your shot percentage should be across the board. Like, where were you on your drive percentage and your third shot drop percentage, for example, when you were a 4-0 versus where you are now? And like, what should that standard be for our listeners to be striving for realistically?
Yeah, good question. I think before I get into that, I think pickleball as a whole is it's very basic. Like if you give anybody a paddle and you show them the court, like anybody can hit a third shot drop or a drive, like with enough practice. Like it's not very difficult. The thing that happens is that people get into a tournament, or a match, rec play, whatever it is, competitive match for you personally. And as soon as like they get into a match scenario and a ball's hit to them, their mind goes blank, and then they just try to muscle it or use 100% power. Like the game itself is not that difficult. It's a wiffle ball. You're like 20 feet away. Like it's not too hard. But what I would say is, I don't know. I feel like the percentages, you should be pretty high as is. I'd say like 70. I honestly don't know specifically.
Yeah. It's something we can kind of maybe have the audience answer the question for us, because it's a loaded question, because it's like, it depends if you're going for a really aggressive drop versus a very safe drop too. And, there's different styles of shots. I mean, even like dinking, I'd say it's like you got to be 100% is what you're striving for.
If you're 90% dinking, like you're going to lose every game. And that's kind of crazy to say, but it's true.
It's very true. That's the point about what you said. It's like the game is so simple and easy. But that's what makes it hard, is because since it is so easy, all four players are playing the same easy game. So it's the very little things in those percentages that make the massive difference about who's going to win and who's not going to win, which is kind of what it all comes down to. Cool. What's your number two?
Number two is being mentally 2 steps ahead or 1 step ahead on your speed ups. Where you hit your speed up will depend on so basically if I'm hitting a speed up off of my backhand, depending on where I hit the shot, I am already like reacting to it before it even comes off my paddle. So it's like the triangle method. I'm sure the viewers are familiar with it. If I take it from my backhand and attack the ball like through the middle, it's going to come back to my forehand. I'm a lefty. If I attack the ball down the line, I know it's going to come back to my backhand. If I lob my opponent, I'm going to take 2 steps back and get low in preparation of them hitting an overhead. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm not just speeding the ball up and then just closing my eyes and reacting. I'm hitting it already with a game plan.
It's the most common mistake that I see when I'm coaching. It's like, why did you speed up the ball there? And most often there's never an answer why in terms of it being a setup. Every single drive and every single speed up should always be for a second step. And there should be an intention behind it as a follow-up. You should never be hitting a speed up and just assuming it's going to end the point unless somebody's like way off balance, of course, or the stack is completely unwound and then you don't know what's going to happen next. But you always have to be 2 steps ahead. And there's some players that are so good at that are able to separate themselves. And you could feel that pressure on the court where they're setting up these patterns on you and these combos. And it's insane.
Right.
All right. My number 2 is, this one's a little bit more niche, but it works really well for me. And it's something that I have to kind of self-coach myself on, and it'll help me be more consistent, is visualizing your shot. And what I mean by that is finding a unique way to visualize your shot for all areas of the court. So for example, a third shot drop, I picture and I tell everyone this when I'm coaching too, at the opponent's feet, a bucket that's angled kind of towards me, just like those carnival games where you have to underhand that ball and it has to like softly land in that bucket without bouncing back too far. I picture that every single time I'm dropping the ball facing me directly right at their feet. And I use that as a tactic and a tool to stay consistent. Most players, when they're hitting a drop, they don't really have a margin that they're shooting for exactly. It's more so just like, let's try to get it in the kitchen, which I think is too broad. I think if you aim small, you miss small. If you aim big, you can miss big. You know what I mean? So making sure that you have those visual cues that work best for you, whatever that might be. Maybe it's somebody's shoelace. Doesn't matter. Maybe it's a specific line or a leaf on the court. Well, a leaf wouldn't work because it moves, but you get my point. And it even works for dinking as well. Even if I'm at the kitchen, I'll focus on something as simplistic as inside foot or stretch wide. Like if I'm going to cross court dink battle, I will only picture those 2 things for applying any sort of pressure. I'm either going to dink cross court right at the inside foot, or I'm pulling wide, and I can make the game as simplistic as that. For drives, I'm aiming right at the nipple. I look at people's nipple and I'm going there, Tanner. That's my spot. For me, it's a little high for people because I put a lot of shape on it, but that's where I'm looking. I know it's weird. Don't call me out on it. Don't pod clip that, but that's my line. That's my cue. As weird as it is. Thoughts? Concerns?
I like that.
Probably more concerns.
I think I'm adding it in.
Okay, cool. All right, let's go to your number 3.
My number 3 is realizing that each point holds the same amount of weight. So there's a lot of momentum in pickleball, meaning like a team goes up big, they go on runs, but you can kind of counteract that by calling a timeout immediately and realizing that you can't score a 3-pointer like in basketball. Like everything's the same, whether you win in 1 shot or a 75 shot dink rally, like everything is the same weight.
Interesting. Yeah. And like you said, even being able to leverage that and being able to be consistent with that. The runs that people go on pickleball are crazy. It's like you can beat a team 11-1 and then the next game they're beating you 11-3, and it's this matter of just a little bit of a pause, and that momentum shift changes absolutely everything. Cool. Okay. My last one is pattern recognition. And I've talked about this before. This is one of my favorite things to work on pickleball, and something that I've gotten better at, the better I've improved my own game, and something that I did not do early on in my game whatsoever. So, at the rec level, I see it all the time. People are just kind of dinking randomly without a purpose. For me, and what, you see the pros do all the time is they're creating patterns. They lull people to sleep. They, for example, I'll repeatedly dink one spot cross court over and over and over and over and over. And then at one point, I'll give them the exact same look. Then I'll roll that ball straight through the middle. So being able to condition your opponent, repeat simplistic shots, and almost seem predictable makes you unpredictable. So making sure that you're being very mindful about patterns that you create, especially as longer rallies go on. The longer the rally is, the more you're able to create those patterns and deceive people.
I like that a lot. I totally agree. I do the exact same thing. As I mentioned earlier with my backhand dink. I'll give you a quick little example. Okay.
Let's go.
This past weekend, what's today? Yeah. This past weekend I played in a tournament a local like money ball like 2 days ago.
Oh, didn't you win that with Casey, right?
Yeah, I played with Casey Diamond, and in the finals we played Richard, my partner, and Eric Onsens. So
that's
a great
awkward.
Yeah. So basically, like I know like Richard and Eric are both left side players. They don't like playing the right. So Casey and my strategy was kind of just target whoever's on the right because they're just uncomfortable. So for instance, I was cross court digging with Richard, maybe 5, 6 in a row. And then that allowed me to kind of lull Eric to sleep in front of me and then speed up down his line. I think I was successful on I think 3 for 3 all down the line, just because it's deceptive and he's not expecting much because he's seen the pattern so much. Exactly what you were saying.
Exactly. And I actually see this working the most in mixed, because mixed is the most predictable in terms of patterns, where most often teams are hitting towards the girl just because that's what's the most consistent. The guy's covering more court. So if you're consistently, maybe I'll dink 5 straight onto the girl and then the guy's leaning in and he tries to lean a little bit more to get involved, then I push 1 behind his backhand and then, everything's thrown off for them, or vice versa. I'll hit to the guy 10 times in a row and then completely neutralize the court and then go where I want from there. So being able to create those patterns that way is super helpful. All right, well, we got our 3 knocked out each, and I got some bonus tips too. I mean, we're already cruising through this. So for fun, let me throw in my bonus ones. Did you have any bonuses, or do you have 3 and you locked it in?
I didn't have 3. I just had 3.
Oh my God! Wow, way to prepare. Anyway, bonus tip is this one is similar to the pattern recognition. It's stress testing. Is some people will let up. And this is so obvious. Like if you find a weak point on an opponent, let's say they can't hit a backhand reset as they're transitioning, hit the ball every single time and don't let up. Obviously, I'm not saying to do this in a rec, because in a rec, that's not fun to do that to somebody and just pick on somebody. But if you're in a tournament, everything's off the table. You can do whatever you want. Stress test them, hit them that exact same shot. If they can't hit a deep backhand third shot drop or a drive, hit it in that back corner for them every single point until they fix it. I don't care. If it's a tournament, do it. Unless you're up 11 or 10-5 or 10-1. Maybe let's pump the brakes a little bit and not make them feel bad. But you get the idea. Stress test, attack, make them make the adjustments and make them feel that pressure. Okay, what were my other ones? Yeah, another good one was tempo and rhythm control. So a lot of pros, and I feel like you do a really good job of this too, is controlling the speed of the rally and knowing when to dictate that pace and how to dictate that pace. So making sure you can slow down a match and speed up a match how you want. Maybe every once in a while you're playing 5 points in a row where you're hitting only resets and only drops, and then making a little pivot and going heavy drive. And then instead of waiting for that reset, you're coming in for a quick counter and you're dictating that tempo and control in a match. So that's something that's a little bit more advanced that I don't see players doing, mindfully, just kind of random. So being able to know how to dictate that tempo and make that tempo your advantage and back into your control. And then the other one was shot tolerance and patience. So a lot of pros expect rallies to last, 10, 20 plus shots versus what you see at some lower levels where it's, 3 to 5 shots and the rally is over. So essentially finding a way to not go for winners, be patient, and have the mentality that you're going to outlast your opponent, and being very, very diligent about that. Making sure that you're applying that pressure to force errors on them and dictate the point. That's super important, as well as having that tolerance and that mental fortitude to be patient throughout a whole rally. People want to pull a trigger at the dumbest times 24/7.
Love it. No comment.
How do we do? I think we had a good list. Okay. I'm excited about that. Let's wrap this up, team. So I gave you shit last time. I said if you didn't go back-to-back APP Gold that I was going to find a new co-host. So lucky for you, and lucky for me, probably more than anything, is that I don't have to go find a new co-host. So holy shit, congrats to you. I was so pumped again.
Thank you.
Tell me about it. Give me the breakdown. What were some of the hardest matches? What was the feeling like when you won? I want to hear it all. Let's dive into it.
I'll tell you it all. So yeah, it was good. We had to buy the first round. And then we played a team that was pretty good. I think they were a qualifier team. I think we won, maybe not. I'm not sure, but they were good players. I think we won like 11-3, 11-4 or something like that. Like we played good.
It's a good win.
Yeah. The second round or the third round to the quarters, we played Thomas Yu and Len Yang.
That's a good team.
Yeah, they got second in New York, so we knew like we couldn't come in lightly. And I actually played with Len a lot. He was kind of like from my area ish. Like I would always see him at local tournaments when I like was first starting out, and he would see me.
Isn't he a New York guy?
He is, but now he's.
Oh, you're Jersey. You were Jersey. That makes
He was New York. I was New Jersey.
That's right.
So we won. I think we won like 11-5 in the third or 11-7. Like it was close. We could have lost. The next round, the semifinals, who did we play? Oh, we played Randy Blanco and Amar Wazir. Amar made it to the finals in singles, and Randy made it to the finals in mix. So they're good. And I play with Amar a lot when I lived in Chicago. So we knew that was going to be tight. I think we won again, like maybe 11-7 in the third. Like just and they could go either way. Like you're talking about a few decisions where, speaking of the episode, where you need to be like mentally in it. Could have went either way. A little lapse. Perfect example. I used to do this. Prime example. Game 1, we lost. Okay. Game 2, I'm the starting server. I serve the ball like a foot out. Amar doesn't call it out, and we end up winning the game. Now, obviously, the score was 0-0, but still, like a lot. Maybe that could hurt my confidence and Richard's confidence.
Yeah,
but he plays it. We win the point. Yeah. So like all those little things, like you can't let up for a second. You know.
You didn't call the ball out yourself?
No, definitely not. I thought it was it.
Hell no.
No.
That's so funny. Wait, was that did you play Richard in finals, you said?
No, that was Randy and Amar.
Sorry, Randy.
Semifinals. Okay. Yep. For the finals, we played Clayton Powell and Aiden Shank.
That's right.
They're another great team. I think they've went far before. Aiden won in New York. Yep. But you asked me how it feels winning, and it's funny. It really. Sure, it feels like great, but in reality, like nothing's going to feel like that first time. And I'm so glad that this has happened because like the screensaver on my phone, let me show you it. You ready for it? I don't know if you can read it. It's backwards, but
I can't read it, but
you've already achieved goals you said would make you happy. You know, like a year ago when I was starting out, man, if I just won an APP, that's all I need. And then I'm going to be happy. Man, if I hit 100K on YouTube, I'm going to be so happy. No, that's not the answer. Everything you already have is the answer. And you just have to enjoy the process. That's taught. I'm so glad that I was able to experience all this because it's taught me and just furthered it that life is the present. It is not this wishing that everybody does. And I'm still susceptible to, you know?
Dude, wow.
What do you think of that?
You're getting me emotional again, Tanner. Woo!
You see that back there, Brodie? Look, I got that thing in the mail. I thought it would make me happy. Didn't. I'm still the same person, you know?
Wow. Tanner, that's deep.
It's true.
You're a wise man. I'm proud of you.
It's not that I'm an unhappy person. It's just not the be all end all. You know what I mean?
It's not. Yes, they're little bonuses. They're not those little victories. Those big victories are just little things for the happiness bubble. You know what I mean? It's like
exactly.
It's not. That's all. Yeah. Well done, Tan. Wait. Last thing. We could probably even take this off here, but I want to ask. You said did you live in Chicago for how long?
I lived in there just last summer. That was it. Just like 3 months.
We'll talk about this after. But point being, I'm going to be in Chicago. For any of the listeners, I'll be in Chicago for all of September. That's my next stop on my nomad journey. So can't wait to be there.
Wait, where? I'm going to be there next week.
I'm going to be there after. I'm going to be there after APP, like the day after.
I'll be there a week after teaching.
No way.
Yes, downtown.
Oh my God. Yes, I'm going to be up north, like Roscoe Village area.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about it later.
I get there like the 3rd. Okay. I can't wait to, we'll film some videos then. Can't wait. It'll be fun. I'll kick your ass in skinny singles. We're going to, you know what? I'm calling it right now. We're filming a skinny singles challenge. That's it. And we'll see what happens. That's all I have to say about it, but I can't wait.
Perfect.
All right. See you.
See ya.